everyone, this is Michelle. This is our final training video in our Strong Jeweler Start series. And this is just a bunch of miscellaneous. So on the back tab of your binder, you are going to have a bunch of handouts, and they range from how to just kind of prepare yourself mentally to all the way down to the brass tacks of what kind of files should you set up in your office. So we'll just go ahead and start with the first page, and I am not going to go through every single point on every single one of these pages. I'm just familiarizing you with what's in here, and then you and your sponsor are going to sit down and go over the details point for point. So first one is 10 things a new jeweler can expect. Now this is just about expect to be nervous, expect that you're going to have to be patient, you're going to have some bumps in the road just like any other thing you might go out and do. You're going to have a variety of show experiences. Looking like the jewelry lady is going to really help you with achieving that credibility and that professionalism that you want to be portraying so that people are going to believe what you're saying. Okay, so then there's also some jewelry techniques. This is actually just 2 on 1 page, but it's about flipping and extending and layering and looping. And if you just know how to work with a couple of these techniques at your show, by no means do you need to do them all during the fashion segment, but you can mix them up a little bit. You can play with a couple during one show, and then next time the same people are there, you can play with a few others. However, I don't want you to be too nervous about feeling like you have to change up every element of your show just because a few people are at your show for a second or third time. I used to think that a lot, and it really threw me off. And the one thing I had to remember is the people who had never heard it before were missing out on the stuff that I felt like I couldn't talk about, that people really enjoy learning about. And then 2, the people who had heard it before by no means went home and memorized it. So it's not like they were going, oh gosh, this is so boring. They were going, oh, that's right. Oh, I remember that now. You know, sometimes repetition is the best form of learning. So often, if I did leave something out, people who knew my show would say, don't forget to tell everybody about the nickel-size earrings make you look 10 pounds thinner. So really, ladies, I don't want you to put yourself under that kind of pressure that you have to change out your show much, if anything. If I ever do, it's often just one of those icebreakers that we talked about in the last video. I'll change out amongst 4 icebreakers, so that's just a little something new that they're learning about themselves. And sometimes I won't do it for a year or 2, and I bring it out again, and they're like, yeah, that's right, I remember that, and they love it all over again. Okay, so this is about fashion. Here's just a few little fun but effective kinds of quotes that you can use to create a desire for jewelry and help people understand what it can do for them in their lives on a practical level, on an energetic level, and everything in between. So it says, accessories give flair, panache, and pizzazz to any basic wardrobe. So these yummy, juicy adjectives are going to help you so much in creating excitement about your product and also increasing your sales. Another one is, accessories give you the ability to change an outfit from one mood to another. They give you flexibility. They are the ultimate mix and match tools. Okay, so there's a bunch of cute ones on here. There's a wonderful Kate Hudson quote, if I'm not feeling good, I load on jewelry. It gives me energy and makes me feel happy. These are just great little tidbits that you can throw in during your show presentation to liven things up. This I love, I use it almost every show. It's called First Impressions, and there's quite a few little statistics on here that really create a desire for your jewelry, gets the thinking women in your room to start paying attention. For example, 93% of lasting impressions come in the first 4 minutes of a meeting. And all of this whole page is wonderful, I love it. Now we're getting on to some back office type of stuff. Here's some names of files that you can set up. Invitations, business gifts, booking leads, retail tips, tax information, travel expenses, and so forth. And speaking of expenses, one of our jeweler friends, it was a CPA, and she put together this tax awareness document for Premier Designs jewelers. And what's great about this is it's really simple and basic, and it really is pretty easy to keep track of what you can expense. And you just have, you know, one paragraph in 24 type size font, and it's a great husband tool too. If your husband's asking about what you can write off, it's listed all right here. But we do want to recommend that when you do have your taxes prepared, that you go to somebody who has a familiarity with our industry. Now, Andy Horner gets really mad, but we still are categorized in the direct sales industry. We call ourselves a direct service company, and that we are. But if you can find an accountant who he or she themselves have been in this industry before, that's even better. And that's, if you need a recommendation, we know of a couple that we were recommended to by someone who was in another business in this industry, and they have done us fabulously well, and I think several of our jeweler friends and family go to them as well and have been very pleased. But they are extremely ethical, they are conservative, but they also know what to look for, know what to ask for, and know what we can claim. And they've helped us so much in realizing all of the benefits that we do have coming our way for having a home-based business in this industry. So we want you guys to have all those advantages and benefits as well. Now, replacements and exchanges is next. This is such a wonderful process now that we've got automation online, that our customers are getting their new pieces drop shipped to their homes within a few days. But these are just some templates of letters that you can use for when you need to be the one to pick up the jewelry. For example, I might have someone email me and say, I had an issue with my bracelet falling apart, and you can handle it any which way. I like to be the one to pick it up from them. I do pay the postage. I think it's a great service. I think it really is impressive to them, and they are ones who are testimonies at my future parties when I bring up the Golden Guarantee. Oftentimes somebody who was very happy with the way I handled it will say, if anything happens, they take care of it. It was really fast, and she sent me the mailer and everything. And so you've got these testimonials working on your behalf. We do have a less than 3% replacement rate in Premier, so we are extremely blessed for that. But there will be times where you're going to need to communicate with your customers and explain to them exactly what the instructions are for using your materials and getting the defective piece of jewelry back to Premier in a timely manner, so that you're not charged for that piece that already got sent to their home if Premier hasn't received the defective one back in a timely manner. Now this is just a little interesting article about why do rings turn fingers green. And this is going to help you so much, because especially when you're new, people kind of come at you sometimes, I don't know why, when you're new, and more so with this turned my finger green, and this was Premier, and so on and so forth. Well, if you know what happens about body chemistry and how chemicals react, just yesterday I was at a party where there was a woman who what it came down to is she didn't have the discretionary income to purchase anything yesterday, and that's absolutely perfectly okay and fine. But sometimes it'll come out in another way, and unless you're kind of patient and you don't panic, you won't always get to that place of understanding what's really going on underneath. So what happened was she came up and she said, I have a couple rings that I've had problems with. Well, number one is when I hear that it's a couple rings, I think probably it's a body chemistry issue. If it was one ring, I can see where it could have been a plating issue, and let's go ahead and get that replaced and see how we can get her up and running in a new ring. But when I hear that it's a couple rings, I then asked her, have you ever had that issue with any other ring besides Premier? And then she was like, yeah, and I sometimes have stuff that happens with necklaces, and I said, have those all been Premier? And she said, I'm not sure, so basically what it comes down to is I was able to say, sometimes the issue is high acidity levels in your system. I'd be more than happy to have a look at your rings, and we can see what we can do. If it happens again, chances are that it's not a manufacturing defect, but I'd be happy to work with you on this. And so at the end of the day, she kind of changed over to, I think I need to wear 14 karat gold and sterling, because now that I'm thinking about it, that's the only jewelry that I really have that doesn't do that. And I said, okay, that's all right. There are some pieces or some beads and things. We can try to move her over to, beads that aren't metal that are touching her skin, or a pin for her purse or her sweater or her hat, or something like that if she's open to it. But sometimes it really just is a matter of not everything that you hear can you really take at face value. Sometimes you need to have a conversation. So don't panic. Don't panic about the quality of our jewelry. It is amazing. Just know that sometimes there are more things at play than might meet the eye right at the beginning. So I just wanted to get that across to you because I know that's such an issue. When I was a new jeweler and starting to question our jewelry and so on, and I know that it can be an issue if you haven't had a lot of experience under your belt yet with that topic. Now, last but not least, there are some flashcards here that are booking objections. So just like I had that issue yesterday with the woman who was having some plating problems with her ring, sometimes you will hear people say things that check out like, oh, I just don't do parties. And that's okay. It's very easy as a new jeweler to say, okay, no problem. You know, and oh, nobody wants to have a party. And suddenly you're off and running mentally on that track of, what was I crazy thinking people would want to have parties? Nobody wants to have parties. Well, that's definitely not true. Lots and lots of women love our jewelry and absolutely cannot afford to write a big fat check for everything that they would want. And it's a wonderful blessing to be able to offer them all this incredible free jewelry. And not only that, but in an environment that gathers them together with their friends in fellowship and laughter and play. None of us have enough of that in our lives. So we have this great mission of bringing women together and uplifting one another and helping them with a makeover from the outside in. So please always remember what it is you have to offer. But sometimes you're going to hear people, especially in the beginning when you're just this sponge and you take everything very sensitively and literally, you're going to hear people go, oh, I don't do shows. And so you'll go, oh, Linda, that's okay. I need customers too. And I'm so thankful that you came here tonight. It doesn't work if everybody's a hostess and nobody's a customer. And I hope you had a good time and so forth. And that's fine. You can go ahead and just kind of ease the tension, ease the anxiety. If she's up in arms a little bit, oh, don't ask me about having a show. But sometimes if she calms down, then you can kind of say, now, why is it that you don't like to host? I'm just curious because, you know, obviously I'm in this line of business and I'm new and I'd love to know kind of, you know, different people's perspectives out there. And sometimes she will just say, I've tried, nobody ever comes. Okay, that's a whole different issue, right? Then I don't do shows. Now we're talking about a whole different line of conversation. So you can say, Linda, is that really true? And sometimes other women are around and they'll go, I'll come, Linda, I'll come. You'll start having all that happen. And many times in the beginning I would say, you know, I've heard that from people from time to time, but I've never heard that about a woman who is hosting a jewelry party. Women tend to come out for jewelry. They might not come out for another product that maybe has some guilt involved in it. Like I should be doing more of this at my house or more of that, and I don't name names and I don't name products, but you have to admit some of the other items out there have a little bit of associated guilt. I should be more Martha Stewart, I should be more this, or I should be more that. And so I do say women tend to come out for jewelry. It's guilt-free. You can still fit in the same earrings you wore in high school, and we just kind of play a little bit with the gals who I feel really do love the jewelry, and you can tell when they kind of need you to be their cheerleader. And it's not that I don't take no for an answer, I absolutely do, but often I regret not trying harder when I look back and think about certain people that probably just needed some more encouragement, and I shut down instead of provided that for them. So go ahead and try. You know, you're no worse off if she ultimately says, oh, you know, no thanks, I'll just come to Andrea's. That's perfectly great. And you can say, okay, Linda, I would love to see you again. You are a riot. You added so much to the party tonight, and I hope you absolutely love your kaleidoscope necklace. It looks amazing on you. Then you just kind of move on. But that's all that to say is there are several key objections that you're going to hear on a regular basis. Kind of like what we're talking about for your practicing of your jewelry show presentation. The more you're prepared ahead of time, the less you're going to be thrown off when you get something that comes at you. Everyone I know has been to a show recently. I don't know many people. I don't need any more jewelry. My house is too small. My friends don't have enough money. I'd like to think about it. I'm too busy, and nobody ever comes to my parties. So on the bottom half of each of these objections is some verbiage that you can use. And again, it is not with the intention of talking anybody into something that they really don't want to do. I think sometimes people just get stuck and they don't know how to solve a problem for themselves. And it's hard for us to solve our own problems, right? So sometimes we need someone to step in and help us with a different picture. So in many ways, we are picture painters. We can help cast a vision for somebody who may really have a desire or a need to gather her girlfriends together and to have some pretty things for herself for free, and to be blessed by the experience, the energy, the love fest that you're bringing into her home. So try not to shut down. Be prepared. Know that this is out there and that it's going to be something that you're going to encounter, and be ready to help women feel better about themselves, get together with their people who love them, and break away from the workaday world for an evening or an afternoon to experience something truly special that you're going to be bringing. All right, ladies, that's the end of this video series. I hope it was super helpful for you. I hope you and your sponsor stop this video many times and talk things out on a deeper level. This is really just meant to be an overview and a summary. This is not meant to be a substitute for a training that you're going to be getting from your sponsor, either live if you are possibly able to get together in today's busy world, or even bit by bit as you were talking about it, each section with her over the phone, maybe watching some of this video, watching some of the premiere videos, and whatever combination of materials and vehicles that you used. I do hope that, however that looked, you are sitting now feeling really thoroughly trained and prepared to head out there and make sure that this Premier Designs experience is phenomenal for you, your family, and for all of those lives that you are going to be going out and enriching. I wish you all the best. God bless.